let us get into our
Let's get
WandaVision episode 5 review. So we start off the episode. We are finally in the 80s. We have that full on like Full House feel, Family Ties kind of thing going on. And I absolutely love this episode. I don't want to gush too much.
Oh,
I want
go ahead.
Ray, I want you to go first. I want to hear your thoughts first, and then I'll give mine.
This episode was so freaking good because they captured the 80s aesthetic of 80s television perfectly. And I'm like, y'all, like, I guess we have all the technology now that we absolutely can make that happen. But they did it, and it was down to the music. The music was perfectly 80s sitcom. And I was like, oh, and if you did you listen to like the lyrics of the new song?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like, y'all really thought about this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
They're detail orientated for everything, and I love that.
But I could not, like, I love the duality of this show because now we have the split. We know where it is, and that there's layers to where, yes, this exists, but it doesn't. It is like, oh, okay. And I just love how they have like slowly peeled back the layers of this onion every episode. They're like, we'll pull this one back, then we're gonna pull this one back, and then it's like, oh wait, we're not gonna pull that layer just yet, but we're gonna pull down like the outer skin of it, so you can see just a little bit behind it. And oh my God, I think my favorite part of this whole episode was Vision. Paul Bettany has absolutely crushed every episode of this show. His range, as we've seen, is incredible. Dude is amazing. I love watching him be Vision. He's so good at it. I'm like, God, who would have thought that I would have liked Vision this much?
Like, yeah, right?
It's because this dude has given Vision so much life. It's insane to me. I don't know. I loved it. And like, yeah, I mean, Wanda's still great, but like Vision is like, I'm like, dog, Vision's like, you're like the one that like we're trying to figure out how you get out of this and where you are in this, actually, because we found out that he is technically there.
Yeah, it's like his mind is there, but not really. His mind is there in a way.
Well, I mean, if we're just gonna go into it, I mean, she recreated him with just the memories that she wanted him to have.
Yes, because she didn't want him to remember that he's technically dead.
But Vision being Vision, as a super AI, would start to figure out something's not right in this. And it's like, as he started to figure it out, I was like, oh no. So is she going to give him his memories back? Or is someone from the outside going to give Vision his memories?
Or someone from the inside, because I don't want to jump into the ending scene, but she said herself, I did not do that at the door. So somebody also, a cosmic being, that is causing the inner workings, because the character Agnes always mentions Ralph. Always says, oh, my husband is not home. Oh, it's not like he would, I sprayed his lavender. And if you guys know about what people believe about lavender, it tries to push evil spirits away. And it gives that foreshadowingness that if you guys have read the Wanda comics, there is a demon that evolves around Wanda origins. So maybe that's the origin that will give the one.
Not just Wanda.
Yeah.
Okay, so
go ahead, say it. Go ahead.
So we know how Spider-Man Far From Home ends, bro.
Yes.
How does Spider-Man fix that in the comic books? He makes a deal with the literal devil.
That's dude.
So Mephisto is obviously involved in this. Like,
he has to. He has been. Mephisto is definitely part of this.
So my other thought,
the mailman,
is that it's the Apocalypse twins, and the mailman and Angela are the Apocalypse twins.
Wait, who else? Wait, who else? The mailman and who?
And Angela. What's her name? Yeah.
Okay, Angela Basswick. Okay, so you think both of them are the twins?
They could be the Apocalypse twins, or one of them at least is an Apocalypse twin in some way.
Yeah.
So here's my theory, right? I think Ralph is Mephisto, and I think Agnes is Agatha Harkness.
Right. She has to be.
I feel like her name is too much on the nose. If you
it's way on the nose. Yeah.
Yes.
Agatha. Harkness. Like I feel like it's so on the nose, and the reason why like she's so like aware of everything that she's happening is because she's an extremely powerful witch. Like Agatha Harkness has been around since the Salem witch trials.
Correct. And also, Agnes, when Wanda did not like her response, like, "What do you want to hold the kids?" And the Agnes was like, "What do you want me to retake that? What do you want me to what do you want me to repeat that?" Vision was lost. Wanda knew what was going on, but Vision was like, "What's she talking about, Wanda?" Like, "Oh no, yeah, go hold the kids."
Yeah, and that's because that's because, God dang it, Angela she's training Wanda. She's training her. That's what she's doing. She was like, I need you to, like, basically, so my true theory is that she's training Wanda to beat Mephisto because she can't get free of him. And she's hiding from Mephisto here.
Exactly.
And that's why she goes to his house all the time.
She's training Wanda to fight him.
So
it's a good theory.
It's interesting because at the same time, she goes there all the time to the house and helps her out and helps her in the most tiniest way to help her use her powers and becomes more like where Wanda said, "Oh, I'm not trying to hide my powers no more." And she does it in front of Agnes and everything, but also the kids where Wanda tries to use her powers on the kids. Wanda doesn't realize that the kids have powers, but she didn't realize that, but she needs to understand that one of her kids, I forgot either Tommy or Billy, I think it's Tommy has Wanda's powers and Billy has the speed,
it's the
right?
Other way around. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
So Billy has Wanda's powers and Tommy has the speed.
They her powers didn't work on them because they also technically don't exist, but whatever.
No,
that's the thing. That's the thing. They do exist.
They do
she
exist.
Created them. Like they actually do exist.
They exist.
I think that her powers don't work on her on them because Billy has the exact same hex powers.
And I love how they mention hex.
So connected, because of how connected he is to his twin, it doesn't affect them. That's why she had to stop them from aging up because Billy aged them to 5, and then Billy also aged them to 10 years old.
Yeah. And to add to that, I love how detailed.
That's why they brought him in because I was like, wait a minute, because the other kid's power is speed. He's fast.
Yes.
Yep. And I'm like, it's all making sense.
Yeah. So I love how
real quick, Vash. Real quick. So one thing on the kids is just when you look at the kids, you look at the color scheme of their clothes.
I was just about to say that.
It matches Speed and Wiccan.
I was just about to say that. That's exactly what I was gonna say, James, because Billy is with all the red, Tommy is with all the green, so it kind of works with the color scheme. I love how detailed like, okay, let's give him only green while he grows up, way wears and everything. Like that's detail oriented to your character, and it shows how detail oriented they are. Like again, that shows the detail because it also brings back to the other side of Sword. The Asian guy, I forget his name.
Detective Wu?
Thank you, Wu.
Jimmy Woo.
Yeah, Jimmy Woo. He was the guy that was playing good. He was trying to defend Wanda throughout the whole time. And James, I think he's
because that's because he worked with Ant-Man. He worked with Scott, and he learned that these people are good and that they're trying to do good, and so that's why he was giving her the benefit of the doubt.
And he asked the whole leader,
the sword
director
Haywood.
Yes, is director Hayward is a dick because I agree with what the girl said with the coffee drink. He's a dick, and he said it like, do you have any other type of alias name that you want to say? Scarlet Witch. I love how he was trying to bring that up, like what other type of names does she have? So I love how detailed they show because they also show the other cameos of the end credits of the movies past because they also show how Scarlet Witch, Wanda stole Vision as well before at the end of the movie Endgame, because this is in the timeline of 3 weeks after the movie of Endgame, and this has been going on for 9 days.
Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick. But what Rob brought up, so Ray, I wanted to ask you this: do you think Hayward is a Skrull? I think he is.
Ray said, James said that last week, and I still am on the 50-50.
I think he is 1000% a Skrull. I think he's not just a dickhead. I think he's definitely a Skrull that infiltrated Sword because Maria Rambeau had cancer and Monica Rambeau wasn't around. So the Skrulls, as you know in the comics in Secret Invasion, they take over the highest levels of government.
Maybe
which is
that's
Sword,
why.
bro.
Maybe that's why he wants to take out Wanda because they're afraid of her powers.
Exactly.
The reason why that makes sense is because do you remember that scene between them when she first comes back and he was like, remember the rule that your mom made about if somebody ever suddenly disappeared? It wasn't just about her. It was about the Skrulls and them taking somebody's place.
Yes, exactly.
And so I absolutely think that is completely possible.
And plus, I'm glad that Ray brought up during that scene as well in that episode where he was talking about the astronauts in space. He said that some came back from the blimp, some are still there, and some are scared from the accident. aka accident could be a homage to the Fantastic Four that probably wasn't ready in the project of space. For Sword. So this is what the MCU is probably leading into
right now.
Yeah,
I think they're in space right now, and how this ends is how we get the Fantastic Four.
And that's why I think because Kevin Feige said that WandaVision will be leading up to a lot of the story that we'll be getting about She-Hulk, the Fantastic Four and everything. So this could be a
she
way.
about to bust the universe wide open. Bust it wide open.
So, so I'm very curious to know that this was really an Easter egg for the Fantastic Four. That are they already in space? Did they get hit by the cosmic wave that we don't know about yet? And because this could probably lead into about the whole backstory, we don't probably know about these said scientists, astronauts, because Sword is still technically hidden. That's probably why we don't know about Reed Richards, these characters, Susan, Storm, and everything. So I'm really curious to know that's why we probably don't know about these said characters.
So you said you just brought up something that I would love to talk about now about these characters we don't know about. There's an engineer that Monica keeps bringing up.
Yes.
Lord, please let that be Adam Brasher. Oh my! If that's Blue Marvel that she's talking about,
bro. Because when she said that, I'm like, who else could it be that we don't already know? So it's like, if it was Jane Foster, they would have told us that already. If it was Selvig, they would have told us that already.
Exactly. They would use their name.
An aerospace engineer. Blue Marvel, bro. It has to be him. It has to be.
Because there's no other type of scientist, like, if it was like the Hulk, if it was Bruce Banner, if it was like other scientists that we know already alive or not from the blimp, they would have said it by word. But for them to use a foreshadowing, hey, we need some scientists. What other scientists do we know that's not that already dead or not confirmed?
It would have to be like so in a perfect world, it is Adam. And Adam is an aerospace engineer at the time, but when whatever happens with Wanda, this bust opens and it basically brings antimatter into the equation. He becomes an antimatter specialist, and
yes, exactly.
That'd be so good.
Because what me and James have spoken before, if you have read the House of M comics, she has taken mutants' powers away, and then for her to explode these powers of hers into the world, we said that this would be the inverse of the House of M, where people would get mutant powers.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think, like you just said, Vash, in the House of M, she erases mutants, and I think that something's going to happen between WandaVision and the Multiverse of Madness to where, like, something cracks in the multiverse and we end up with mutants. There's a lot of potential with WandaVision, with this universe as a whole. Like we talked about before, I love the fact that Feige saved that end credit scene from Endgame and put it into WandaVision.
Yes, I'm glad.
She broke into Sword headquarters and stole Vision's body that was torn apart in a bunch of different pieces, by the way.
Yes.
And she put them together. So what we talked about on episode 3 of Villains, we talked about the possibility of, do we think that Wanda literally has his corpse and it's puppeteering his corpse? And
that's
it's like
exactly what she's doing.
Confirmed. She's puppeteering Vision's dead corpse, bro.
It's terrifying.
Yes, it is.
It's terrifying in her mind because that's why it was more creepy when her kids even asked when the dog passed. The kids say you could bring the dead back to life. The kids are not stupid because the kids must see that their father's
not
ready.
One of them can see.
That's true. One of them.
Their dad's real face.
That is true.
Yeah, because they don't have the heart to tell her. These kids are very smart. We've already noticed.
Hey, Dad, you seem gray instead of all colorful. What's going on? Are you dead? So for them to, but there's no way the dog actually died. I think Agnes killed it to do this.
That's something I was thinking of too. It's like, did Agnes kill the dog?
to see
I
I
mean,
think she did. I think she did.
Then yeah, I
Because
think she did.
the plants that she says the dog was eating is very harmful to dogs in general.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
So it could be true, but did she kill the dog, and for what purpose?
but it's to help
I think
Wanda
I think
realize
it-
to know what she's doing.
Exactly. She's training Wanda. Remember?
She's training her to realize to know.
With her bringing, like, I think that Angela brought Pietro back to like heal that wound, to kind of like mend her, because as you can see, she's on the verge of a break again, and she can't risk her breaking here. And so I'm like, ooh. But then again, I still don't totally believe that that's Pietro. Like,
That's something else I wanted to talk about.
but it
Keep
will
going.
become Pietro, is what
Yes,
I'm thinking.
because
So at least like right now, it's definitely not. But
because he's playing a different personality. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like he seems very 80s feel. So
yeah, because he's still in the reality.
he's
So
he's still in the 80s. Yeah,
And-
they built him to like match what she'd already built.
and plus, I'm happy how our girl Darcy said, "Oh, they recast Pietro." I'm like, she like noticed that. She like,
Best
hold up.
line in the whole
Yep.
episode.
Like,
Because
oh,
it's
they
something
cast
that
her.
because not only was it fourth wall breaking, but it also was very relevant to the show. I was like, holy shit.
And plus, what happened in the 80s is that some people gets recast. It's just like what happened in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. A lot of people don't really talk about it, but people get recast.
Everybody
Like
talks
Auntie.
about it.
No, but I'm saying in
We
the
all
actual
knew how
show.
Viv got replaced. They
Oh, yeah.
made jokes about it too.
Yeah, so it's very funny how she said it like, oh, they recast Pedro. I'm like, yeah, they actually did. And me and James saw the leak before we saw the episode. We saw the leak for episode 6, and so we know a bit of what's gonna happen for episode 6. But I'm excited to see the more stuff that don't worry guys, me and James are not gonna talk about spoiler for episode 6, but it's excited for what's gonna lead into the character of Pedro and everything else. But it threw me off that they actually brought Evan Peters back, which I'm happy for. He's a great version of him, of the character. But I was hoping we get the one of the MCU, because I wish they would redeem that character. I'm curious to know if we're gonna get him back as well. Have two versions of him? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we talked about on last episode, I would have preferred it to be Aaron Taylor Johnson. But in this case, Evan Peters makes the best choice, right?
Yeah.
Because the fans prefer him and
Yes.
what he can do. And it also bridges the gap between the MCU part of the multiverse and the Fox X-Men part of the multiverse. And because Wanda recast him, one of my theories is she just plucked him out of another part of the multiverse to replace Pietro. My other theory, like Ray already said, is I don't even think it's Pietro at all. But it could potentially
Turn
become
into him.
the Pietro that we know. So it's a lot of different ways that it could go, man.
Because I mean, I also see like, yeah, she's puppeting around this dead Vision, but I also see her like literally like actually bringing him back to life at like towards the end of this, because she said you can't bring back the dead because she can't technically yet, because I absolutely think that she will. But that's what sends this whole thing over the edge, because that's a big deal.
And plus to add,
essentially.
and plus to add to what Ray is saying, to bring stuff back from the dead, but also of how she could change stuff into different format reality. Because even Monica Rambeau shot her dress outfit that she was wearing Kevlar, and that whole outfit is still 80% Kevlar. It went from a vest suit to a whole dress suit that she was wearing from the 70s, right guys? From the 70s, right? Still? That episode was 70s, right?
Yes, that was 70s.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
So
yeah.
she has a whole 70s outfit where it has 80% Kevlar. So that means it's possible her kids will be coming out being full 10 years old or probably 15 years old to be the next future Young Avengers. And then we have Pedro coming to become real.
If they
And
make it out of this, let's be
yeah,
real.
yeah. But trust me, if they don't make it out of it, Wanda's gonna be broken.
But I think that's the point.
Yes.
Like you do they let somebody this powerful continue to run around in this universe potentially? I don't know. You know, they've had problems with this in the past where it's like, well, we can't let them be that powerful because then we could just do whatever we wanted. And so I'm like, they write themselves into a wall sometimes. So I'm really curious to see how they get out of this corner with Wanda, because they've already confirmed. They said it in the episode. She could have beat Thanos by herself.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad
I'm
they
happy
finally
they
said
said
it
that.
out
Thank
loud.
you.
Finally, because it was true. She could have beat Thanos by, if she had the time, she would have she would have turned him into a flesh can.
Yeah, because
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because what I wanted to talk about was Monica Rambeau's comments to Captain Marvel. And I think the reason why she's upset with Carol is very obvious.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've seen Carol since the 90s, and I don't think Carol even showed up once while her mother was in the hospital with cancer.
What I told my wife is she first of all didn't like. I'm sure they did some kind of like. I'm sure there was some kind of service, and she probably asked if she was there, and she wasn't. And then yes, she also didn't have a single visitor while she was gone, which that means Carol never went to see her. So of course that's some bad blood. It's just and they played that moment perfectly. And when they said Captain Marvel, she was like, anyway, and I was like, oh, that's not good.
I'm going to add to it because I love how they brought that conversation when Wu said, "Oh, Wanda could defeat her." No, sorry, Monica Rambeau and also Diary said Wanda could beat her, but then Wu said Captain Marvel. And I love how that conversation was brought up because also a lot of people that don't read comics, it said that, oh, Captain Marvel could win. Wanda win it. Like, Wanda's technically much because they're both powers from the Infinity Stones. So it improves that these two are one of the most strongest being inside the whole multiverse of this. So it shows that I'm glad they brought that conversation up, and I'm glad that they actually discussed that. I'm curious to know that Monica, since we know that she's going to show up in Captain Marvel, I'm curious to know how that chemistry is going to be as well. Because that'll be interesting. It's like, why didn't you show up to go say hi to my mom? What happened that after you guys worked together so well? Because you guys were co-pilots back then. What's going on? You know, slap her as well, maybe. Who knows? But can't wait to see how the chemistry goes.
I don't know. We'll see. Because I don't know what Captain Marvel is going to be like when she comes back. Because, I mean, she felt like early Thor when she left this next time, and who was super cocky and just kind of was real full of himself when she left. And I was like, so who knows how that's going to be when she comes back? I mean, and we all know that Carol doesn't have the nicest attitude most times anyway. So,
and on top of that, like, she was helping people throughout the entire galaxy. And time is linear. It's different depending on where you are. So it's like, maybe she just didn't think she was gone that long. So I am very curious to see, because we know Monica Rambeau is definitely in Captain Marvel too. I can't wait to see that interaction between the two of them. Pedro,
question.
I actually think that Monica could get her powers in Captain Marvel too.
She already has them, because guess what? They put her in that machine to scan her, and she didn't show up on the what?
Yes.
Spectrum.
I was gonna mention.
I don't know.
I don't think we'll see her powers.
I don't know about her powers. Can you guys tell me about that? For me, that doesn't know much about her character. Can you guys tell me about her powers?
I guess I can explain it as she's literally light and energy. Which is incredibly powerful.
So that's why the screen was pure white, because it then I was in the spectrum.
Potentially, yes.
Because it couldn't scan her, it couldn't see her.
Exactly.
Because she matched the frequency of the energy that they were trying to scan her with, and that's why she went white.
Yeah, because
that's my guess. I'm not saying this. Oh, I know exactly how this works. No, that's my guess.
Oh no, that makes total sense, because I know that she has powers in the comics, but I just don't know much about her character or role. But James and Ray, I guess, are saying about her character that this scan her MRI. If anybody has taken an MRI, they know how the results look. If you guys have seen the results of your own, and this one was pure white, that means she got no results because probably her powers was interfering in it, and she has no knowledge of it. And also, she doesn't seem like she has any damage in her brain or anything while she was poof out.
So I think that was a combination of her going through the barrier twice, but I think it was also like supercharged by being hit with a hex bolt.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
So it's the combination of the two, I think, that makes the difference. So
and also to add, I'm happy Darcy, like, she's being used as a character, but also used to bring up these names and comic type of references about the Hex. Like, I'm glad that we brought that up, because the Hex powers are
Darcy
an important thing.
Is perfect in this role. She is so good.
I'm happy how well she's being used, because from Thor she was very underused, and now she's finally being used a lot more.
She was my favorite part of those movies.
Yeah, me too. Her role as a comedy, and she was great in her show Two Broke Girls, I think it was. So she's great in that.
She's really funny.
Yeah, so for her to be in this role, and her comedy timing is amazing, and for her to come with the Hex powers, it was nice, because if people have seen Doctor Strange, he also has the Hex symbols in the type of magic powers he has, so it will connect later in the Multiverse of Madness, when that's why Wanda and Doctor Strange will work together as well.
Yeah. There is one other Easter egg that I wrote down, and I wanted to know if you guys picked it up. The Logos commercial.
Yes.
So for
yes,
those of you guys in chat that didn't get it, the Logos commercial, the tagline of that commercial literally says, "For when you make a mess and you didn't mean to." The events of, I think it was Civil War.
This was Civil
where
War.
Wanda blew up that building.
Yes.
That was in Lagos, Nigeria, bro.
Yep.
So it's literally a reference to what happened. It's there's so many deep cuts. Like we already talked about. The opening song also talks about how like the things in here aren't real. There's every single piece of dialogue, music, everything in the background means something, bro. Like Ray Vash, what did you guys think about that?
So go ahead.
Man, it was like that was as soon as they said that, I was like, that's her subconscious.
Yeah.
It's literally her subconscious. She still feels bad about that. Like she's carrying that with her still.
It's because she was trying to be a hero, and that's all she could do, and she was still learning how to control her powers.
Well, I mean, it was that she made a mistake. She didn't mean for that to happen. Like literally, like it says, like I think it's very literal on how she feels.
Exactly.
And I'm like, wow.
And it was Hayward. It was Hayward when he kept saying all the bad stuff. We was like, you don't have any good stuff to say about Wanda. She's also became a part of the Avengers. She earned her trust for the Avengers and everything. He said, no, she's still bad. She did this. She destroyed that. She was part of the whole setup of the whole Sokovia Awards. So all those things, he kept naming bad stuff, and she feels guilty about that. That's why the logos, like, that's important for her because she caused damage. That was a mistake. She was working with Steve Rogers, so all that is still new to her to become a hero, learning about powers. Like he's been doing it for 70 years. Sometimes sleeping, but still he knows how to do this for a long time. And then Wanda just started to learn this, how to be hero and everything. And now she lost the man she loved and everything. And now she has to tell her kids that, yeah, you lost a dog, but I cannot bring him back to life. And she has to tell them to accept it. But at the same time, she has to learn her own advice. And that's the crazy thing, because that's technically fall for breaking, because what she's telling to her kids is in a way telling herself, because the kids are technically a manifestation of herself.
Exactly.
So
so
like,
what? Preach, bro.
But
like,
see, what I'm hoping is that she says, no, that because I can do it, and she does it. It's like it's more surpassing your limits type stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, you know what? No, I can do this, and I'm going to bring him back to life because I want him back that bad. And sometimes in situations fictional like this, I think that makes for a more interesting character. Yes, that's a great lesson to impart, but you know what? We're not perfect, and neither should these characters be sometimes. So I would love for her to break her own rule. She's like, yeah, I taught my kids this, but you know what? Parents do that. Parents lie. Okay.
Yeah.
We all know this. And so I would love for her to be like, yeah, I'm bringing Vision back to life. And man, that'd be so powerful, I think. It's like, no, I will do this because I can.
Yeah.
Question as well. We didn't bring up about the scene about Vision. Like, we spoke about him being a great actor in this whole episode, but the scene that he was at his office when he talked, when he
I was going to bring that up. I literally have a bunch of bullet points on that. Keep going.
See, I'm here balancing off you here. So to him to talk to his coworker and then noticing that something was wrong, and then he got the email and then reading that, and then everybody read at the same time, and then after that he was curious to know, he tapped in, and then he broke out of that. He said that she's in my brain, she's talking to me, she is telling us what to do and everything, and then I need to call my mom. And then Vision put him back into the same sleep mode, and that was insane. Like, beautiful acting scene, beautiful scene overall. But what did you guys think about that?
I love that, bro. Like I told you, I have so many notes on that, just on Vision putting the pieces together in general, because Wanda uses her magic in front of Agnes. She uses her magic in a bunch of different ways. She's changing things, and Vision is starting to put it together. Like, this isn't normal. Like, why is Agnes completely okay with you using her magic in front of her? Why is Agnes completely okay with the kids aging from babies all the way to being 10 years old in a day? And why is Agnes showing up as soon as we need a babysitter, as soon as we need a doghouse? Like, things just aren't clicking. And again, once you see that email, it's like the Maximoff anomaly, and he gets into Norm's brain, like you said, and he talks about his sister, and he tells him, like, Vision, you are the only one that can stop her. And all of that pain that they're feeling, I think they're feeling Wanda's pain.
Yeah,
all of her pain, all of her loss.
The
they're
guilt, the
feeling
sorrow.
That
Well, I mean,
as
because
their
Monica said that. She said it was grief.
It's grief.
Yeah.
It's because she lost the guy she loved, the only person that she.
Well, I mean, she lost both the people that she loved. She lost both her brother and then the man that she fell in love with.
Yeah, and
She
also,
has nobody.
And to add to what James was saying about Agnes, she's the only person that she has done her powers in front of her. So that shows how she's comfortable with Agnes because she has maybe like a magical presence or knows about it in a way. Or at the same time, she doesn't give two Fs. So that could be related, maybe.
Quick question. I don't think it's Wanda that's editing the show. It's Agnes.
I don't know, man. I still think it's Wanda.
Or
I mean, in certain parts, yeah, but most times I think it's Agnes. Because remember when the glass broke? She was freaked out about that too.
Yeah.
Oh, you think?
I don't know. I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting for them to shift to Agnes's perspective. Like I know we have to get that at some point.
Yeah, because we need to see Agnes' house or to see, because we saw her doorstep, we saw her car, but we didn't see her husband. We didn't see like the car itself. It was anybody there? So that means her husband was probably home.
Well, and then remember when Vision was talking to his neighbor over the hedge and he was like malfunctioning, and she came over and kind of like said something to put him back on track.
Yeah,
You remember that?
Yeah.
Agnes has definitely been using magic, and we just haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, she's definitely using magic for sure. Yeah, but as far as the cuts, like I still think it's Wanda still in like full control.
Yeah, I think it's both of them.
But Mephisto is doing something. Like there's certain things that they allude to in this episode that Wanda isn't in control of.
She's not. That's what I'm saying. She's not in complete control.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but at the same time, she knows because again, Hayward, stupid. Why send a drone and then put a missile? He was asking for violence. He was asking for like, come back at me, bro. Yeah, come at me.
It's typical white guy in charge military guy. That's literally what that move was.
That was literally perfally said, right? Because
she
came out
murdered for it.
Yeah, she came out said, she's like, you want to die. So she literally turned every gun at him.
I will say one of the biggest flexes
beautiful.
we've seen. I mean, she always has the big flexes, apparently. But like,
yes.
She came out there. And I love that she went out there herself because she knew they can't do shit to hurt her.
They can't.
They're literally powerless against her.
And also, when she left, she was wearing her red jacket and everything. She turned back to regular clothes too.
Oh, by the way, did you notice? First time her accent's been back since Ultron movie.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Her accent was there with her suit and everything, with her red jacket and everything.
That made me happy because I'm like, finally, you're giving this character back to this person. Like, thank you.
Yes.
Like back to her role. Like back to the role that she is, her origin.
I'm like, please thank you for giving us this character of Wanda Maximoff back. Like, thank you. Because it's a very good character. Please build it up. Because I'm very happy that this is happening. So, because it's gonna make Wanda so much more like personable going forward, because I think that was the problem with most people. Most people didn't know her, and so when she came out and she's like super powerful and everybody likes her, like, why is she so strong? This, I feel like, it helped people like form, like normal people, quote unquote, form a connection with Wanda, because Wanda's a great character, and she's a great character because she's so relatable in so many different ways in terms of how she deals with grief and how she hurts like everybody else. And she's not afraid to show when she's hurting. And so what is she doing? She's taking control of the things that she can control, which is a lot more than most people right now.
And that's what I wish Hayward would get, right. And he's like an Agent Ross type, where he just sees a weapon. It's like, dude, she's a human being who has exceptional powers. She lost her parents. She was trapped in a collapsed building for days.
They changed their parents' names too.
Yes, they did.
Their parents' names are different now.
Well, I mean, that's who they were in the MCU.
So this is what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, yeah, that they changed their names. I'm like, that's fine. Okay. Let's see if she changes their names.
Right.
So,
yeah.
The one I'm curious to know is that since we saw again Pietro, how is that going to be connected to Magneto? Now that's what I'm going to lead into.
I mean, we're all hoping that it is.
Do we think that?
But maybe it's not. You know,
hey, if they're going to bring back Evan Peters as Pietro, do we think that we're going to see Michael Fassbender as Magneto for this?
Patrick Stewart, not Fassbender. Because you have to think, right? Fassbender and McAvoy are the younger versions. We are in the MCU, we're in like 2023.
Exactly. So he would be the old ass man. Yeah.
It would make sense for it to be an older Xavier than a young one. That part doesn't make sense to me anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
That'd be
So
crazy.
Man, that'd be
that's
wild.
why I would prefer if like, because I mean Fassbender is such a great actor. I still want him in the MCU just as someone different. I think we would benefit more from seeing older versions of Magneto and Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
Like they're not the focal points of this universe. So seeing them young and watching them grow, we don't
Would be-
benefit from that.
Yeah, we don't need that anymore. We don't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want. See, the thing is, I don't want them to retell the X-Men. I want them to
Yeah.
do like a. I want them. I'd be okay with them doing like a Wolverine and the X-Men type deal. You know what I'm saying? Like going forward. Like I don't want them. Don't retell the X-Men with old Xavier and old Magneto. Please don't.
Yeah, like
I don't want
we
any
know,
old guys.
like
No
we
more.
know, like we know their origin. We know
Very
what it is.
Sukasa on this. No more.
And please, and make Cyclops not into a Boy Scout like he is in the comics and everything. Just
Look, give us a good Cyclops. We still haven't had a good one.
yeah,
Okay, that would
like,
be nice.
Cyclops pisses me off sometimes because he's a Boy Scout. He's a person that is falling like he's head over heels over Jean Grey. I get it, red hairs. I get it, totally understand. But still, like
I
just,
like the actor. What's his name? The actor that plays Cyclops in the X-Men movies, like
Oh, in the,
young
in the most recent one. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. He has to look now.
yeah, he's the
That's
look
for
guy.
sure.
I think
Kid that
he's
looks-
good, but it's the writing that's the problem for me with his Cyclops. Like, and I mean with all of those characters, it's just the writing that's so bad.
Even if we got like post Phoenix Forks like Scott, that would be sick.
Oh
Like
yes,
that Scott, like he's an actual leader. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And he wants to get shit done. That's why I like him. So, man, there's so many things they can fix with the X-Men that
Yeah.
I'm really excited for them to fix.
Yeah, and I mean they have the perfect thing. They have Wanda. Wanda can literally just change it. Whatever doesn't work, whatever might be a plot hole that doesn't fit, Wanda literally has the ability to warp reality. You can just fix it. It's fine.
So what I'm hoping happens is that my ultimate hope for this is that Wanda basically has a breakdown and busts reality, and so reality is consistently in flux from here on out. That's what I want, and so it's the ultimate goal of the big team up to fix reality.
and then that's what's going to lead into Doctor Strange with Multiverse of Madness, because I think that's what's going to lead, like Wanda up. So in the chat was also saying that what happened if Doctor Strange comes in the last 5 minutes of episode 9, where
I hope that
think
happens.
I like it has to, because then that's the connection with Doctor Strange. Like, yo, I sense in the whole energy of the world that you just messed up a lot of multiverses. Come here, we need to go train or something like that.
I think they call him after what just happened.
Oh yeah, Wu might train.
I think
yes.
well, not Wu. I think
Wu.
the agent. They call him because they're like, "Hey, Wanda's out of control, and you're the only person that we think is even remotely capable of
Yes.
handling her." They
If
call
we
Dr.
see him
Strange.
if we see him this early in TV budget and everything, I don't
Think
mind.
about that. Think
I
about
don't mind.
that. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there is nobody like Captain Marvel, off world, Thor, off world, Hulk. Can't trust him. Who can we call? Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true, because technically, Thor right now is being filmed right now with James Gunn and everything, and those biceps of him in that leaked photo. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's huge.
That
He's-
boy looking. He knows how to put on muscle like real easy.
You're
now.
good. But other than the biceps and everything, Doctor Strange could definitely be the only person, unless we get Blue Marvel, but that's just way too soon.
I feel like this is really like just more of a character introduction, like a
Yeah.
name
Yeah,
to a
yeah.
face. That's what
Yeah.
we get. But I feel like they call Doctor Strange because they're like, she just came out here and she tried to murder me. Come help me. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure
mean-
that's what he does.
He's the only one that would be able to counteract her magic.
Even close. Yep.
Yeah,
because
he's the only one.
yeah, because he's in New Jersey. Well, not he. Them, they're in New Jersey. So technically, he could just go to Brooklyn and like, hey, knock, knock, knock. We need you in New Jersey, and then he
That's
just
true.
gonna
He's
teleport
right
and
next
everything.
door.
Yeah.
Literally right next door.
Yeah. So like, literally go from New Jersey to Brooklyn. It's not that hard. It just
I
takes
mean,
a
I
bridge
think
and
it's kind of crazy that he hasn't showed up yet. And he's just kind of like, I'm gonna see how this plays out first.
yeah, and maybe he actually knew this outcome because remember, this is 3 weeks after Endgame.
He saw everything. You're right. This is
Yeah,
one of the
that's
outcomes he
true.
potentially saw.
Yeah, because this is 3 weeks after Endgame, so he knows this outcome. So he probably knew
knows.
about this, and he's probably waiting for a bit. Who knows? He's probably
Well, I mean,
probably chilling with Mephisto.
He
Like,
probably has to wait for a specific part to play his part because, like he did, like we saw with Tony,
yes.
things have to still happen a certain way for certain things to end a certain way. So yeah, that's probably why he's not there yet.
Yeah, that's
It's
a great point.
It's a whole domino effect for things to go a certain way. Like, for one thing to fall, every other thing needs to fall for you to follow the effect.
That's why he shows up, because she breaks reality, and what he knew doesn't happen, and then he freaks out and he's like, "What are you doing?" Because I saw everything that could potentially happen, and what you're doing right now has never happened.
Because he's in charge of the time stone. He's in charge of the time stone, and how can you control time if he doesn't know time?
I mean, he can still control. I mean, that's the thing that like. I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
thing
is the opposite force of like time is consistent. You can't mess with time unless you're actually controlling time itself, which Wanda's not doing. She's messing with reality. So it's like, yeah, there's a big duality there that actually works really, really well. So,
man, dude, there's so much potential. Do you guys have any final thoughts on WandaVision episode 5 before we head out for the night?
I don't trust the damn mailman.
I also do not trust the mailman.
He knows stuff. He knows stuff, and I'm like, how do you? And by the way, why do they have a mailman? They don't. Where are they getting mail from?
That's what I was
Who's getting mail?
Because I mean, you're supposed to.
But
there should be a mailman.
But his
comment.
But if you heard his comment at the end, he said, "Oh, you will find your dog because we cannot even leave either way." He knew that you cannot leave. He knows that you cannot leave the town.
Other people know that they can't leave town. Like the doctor that was supposed to deliver the kids. Like he knew that he wasn't going on vacation because he knows that they can't actually leave. So to some extent, they're cognitive of what's happening. They just can't do anything about it. I'm glad you brought up the dog again, because that was something that I forgot to mention in the Easter eggs. So Sparky is the dog of actually Vision. The dog from the comic? I think it's Tom King's The Vision.
Yes, it is correct.
That's the dog that he creates in the family that he creates.
Yes. The dog dies in that too. Sorry, spoilers. Yeah. Oh, I just realized that. What the fuck? Stop killing dogs. God dang it.
Oh, John Wick, you're right.
Hurt my feelings. But yeah, no, that mailman, I don't trust him.
Oh yeah,
but I'm still kind of like, who the hell are you giving mail to? Ain't nobody getting mail here. You just walking around with a mailbag.
Yeah, and plus, mailmen, they know everything because they go to everybody's houses. They say hi to everyone. Mailmen are the most people that are part of the community. So mailmen know something. So that means
that's the
Mephisto.
thing. If somebody was to be able to walk around inconspicuously and like also be everywhere all the time and be like, it's not weird for the mailman to be here, yeah, that's a perfect cover. So.
Yeah. And my thing is like, why didn't Wanda also think to make kids for the neighborhood? Because Vision mentions that too. Like, there are no other kids besides our kids.
And that's what made it super creepy when they started. Remember the For the Children chant? Because there ain't none.
There's
no that's what.
But so I feel like that was. Oh, we can get real deep now. So that was, to me, was subliminal messaging for Mephisto. Wanda.
Oh, Wanda?
To make the children.
Oh, for the children.
That's true.
To have children.
Because I think that's Mephisto influencing her to have
the children
so that he can use them.
Yeah, exactly. So he can take one.
And he used them in the comics as well. So this could be a storyline, because next week episode will be the Halloween episode where Vision goes dressed up as his old version.
He already knows that Agatha has influenced Wanda. He can't get to her no more, but he can influence a kid.
Question. Do you think in next episode Halloween special, do you think that somebody would dress as the devil as Mephisto?
Yes.
Because
absolutely gotta happen.
There's always a devil version. And do you think that's when we see Ralph?
Yes. Dude, Agnes in this Halloween episode is dressed up like a witch. Like she is. And Ralph will definitely be dressed up as the devil because he is Mephisto, bro.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Oh man. But real quick, I want to talk about Paul Bettany's acting again.
The mailman killed the dog.
Because he was walking that way. He was walking that direction.
That would be messed up. Right there. That would be messed up.
No, it can actually be true because he was coming from that direction. And he said, I hope you find it.
That would be really messed up.
Holy shit.
Wow.
But also, wait, James, quick thing. Also, what did you guys think about WandaVision almost about a fight? Because Vision actually was screaming in that scene, right? Like, Wanda, I'm tired of you, you can't control me. And then Wanda goes up like, you think I can't? Like, they both were like about a fight in that scene.
Yes, it's a marriage story, 2023.
I wish you were dead.
I am dead.
Exactly. It made sense because Vision is legitimately having a crisis of identity. He's I have an idea of who I am, but I don't know who I am.
Because he don't know his memories.
That makes sense. I mean, like I said, for an AI to have a hard stop in its programming, that's weird for it. And so that's why, of course, he figured out the cycle is really weird. Like he noticed the cycle immediately. And so man.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to that. Like Paul Bettany's acting in that scene was amazing. He's like,
so good.
Norm has a family. There's people looking for him, and who knows? Even maybe to his family on the outside, Norm doesn't even exist anymore.
He's really dead.
Because remember in the last episode, the cops didn't even know that that Westview even existed. So maybe people on the outside don't even know that their family still exists.
They don't
while this is up.
So I think she removed them from the reality to put them in hers.
Do you think she did a smaller version of a blip in a way?
No. I think she literally just rewrote, she took these people and made them the people that she wanted them to be, thus removing them completely from existence to the outside world.
Because I mean, the blip doesn't change reality or change your memories.
Right. That just took you, which is gone, and then you came back all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. Because we know that in last episode, we know that Westview hosts about 1,000 people. We only have seen a good members of 10, 11 cast members. So to know where are the kids too? Like she said, where are the kids?
Where are the other kids? Because there's no way that there's thousands of people in Westview and no one has kids.
Exactly.
So it's
and that's what Vision said.
Mephisto took all the other kids.
Mephisto probably did take them because he's the person that comes that wants kids.
So I'm thinking he took the kids and the people, and these were the people that Wanda could protect, is what I'm thinking. So I'm like, she was doing good at the same time. This is where she was hiding, and then Mephisto showed up, and she did all she could to keep him out, but also have her joy. Ooh, that's wild.
Yeah, it's trippy, bro. It's real trippy.
So yeah, the city existed. We know that. That existed.
Yeah.
So everybody else, it was just the people who were close to it in proximity. They didn't know.
Oh, Mercenary brings up a point. Evan Peters' version of Quicksilver came from the 80s in the X-Men movies as well.
That he did.
So that's probably why they also chose this version for the 80s.
Why.
So maybe
it makes sense.
So maybe the MCU version still may come back for the present time. I'm just saying, who knows?
No, bro, he did. I disagree with that. He did.
I don't think so, because there's this small clip where they're playing footage from before the event of Age of Ultron, where Wanda is protesting.
Yes.
They cut Pietro out of that scene. They cut Aaron Taylor Johnson completely out of that scene. So they did it on purpose because they don't plan to bring him back in.
Nope.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though, this is probably the better outcome. I'll be very honest.
For sure.
Me too.
The benefits outweigh anything that I want. Because I said, go ahead.
No, I was telling my wife immediately, Evan Peters just fits with this cast dynamic so much better.
Yeah,
as an actor, he just does.
And but the character of the version of MCU in the Age of Ultron, where he tells people, I forgot when he told Hawkeye, "Oh, am I too fast for you?" And then 20 minutes later, he got killed by some bullets when he said 20 minutes ago, "Hey, I'm too fast for you." I'm like,
we're not going to talk about that. That was bad writing. They planned to kill him, and that's how they decided. Look, I don't want to talk about that. That was not very good.
Don't worry. No. Me and James talked a good 20 minutes about that last week with Chris, but it was just very disappointing. But
I remember.
I like what Donzo said. Donzo, that's what we did. We blew your mind, and trust me, racism stuff that I didn't even think about. James said some stuff that I didn't even try to think about. So this is the point of the show, that we all have different visions and all different thought process of how we see the show. And you, chat, is part of this as well.
I mean, this is, y'all know this is funny. Y'all know this, but I'm very big comic book head. Most people don't know that. I have a vast comic book knowledge of this because now I just talk about anime and manga more. But all this stuff I read 15, 20 years ago. But it's fine. So,
this is why I wanted Ray on the show. I know Ray's a comic head, so I know he would bring the deep cuts, definitely. Pedro, if the mailman brought back the dog to tempt them into showing what Wanda's potential powers could do, and then knowing that Billy also has hex powers, dude, that's messed up, bro.
That's real messed up.
That's
real, because they buried that dog.
Yeah.
So
Yes, because Vision said it. I never thought I would have a dog and then bury him the same day.
same day.
And no lie, that scene also got me because we just had to put our dog away a couple months ago. So it was like, then that scene got me a bit because just to see putting a dog away, like, damn, that kind of hit me a bit home.
Yeah. But man, this was I love this episode. It was very like this whole show is just completely surprised me. Completely. I had no idea that this would be this. Like, I was super skeptical about this one. Like, this was the one I was super skeptical about in the whole slate that they showed us.
Oh yeah.
And it's turning out to be almost one of my favorite things they've done, period.
Yeah, man.
So,
Like, I wasn't worried. In Feige we trust, but there was no way I thought it would be this good.
this is what I'm saying. I was like,
There's no way.
And it was mostly because, like, you know, this version of Wanda, I was like, they've kind of not been, like, treating her well. And I'm like, what if that continues? But then they were like, no, actually, we're going to fix that with this. And I'm like, okay, I'm all for it, you know? So,
Yeah.
And I just understand, like, no shade to people that says this show slow, the first 3 episodes, like saying 4. People need to understand it's pacing, writing, storytelling. Just because a series is playing the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you can't complain. Binge it. If you bored of this weekly process of every week to see a whole different theme, don't watch it then. Wait until it comes out 9 episodes. Then have a different perspective
I
of 9
mean, be
episodes.
patient.
Because
binge
Yeah.
binging
either
weekly
be
is
patient,
different.
either be patient watching it or be patient and wait to watch the whole thing. You know, I mean, I feel like more people just want to be entertained. Damn it,
Yeah,
that's it. Just want to be entertained.
All I hear is that people want action. I'm like, storytelling is action. It just depends on how it's executed. That's all it is. It's important. And
Suspense can be more entertaining than action when it's done right.
Look at how well like the MCU is being expanded in a 9-episode show. That's fascinating. Man.
I mean, just like Mandalorian did with a TV
Yes.
show, this show has done more in my mind than most of the movies have in the past 3 or 4. I mean, not include Endgame and Infinity War, but everything around those. This show has done more than
100% agree because we know Mando. There's some episodes, episode 3 or 4, where he was just in the ice planet and was just run away from spiders.
Hey, I
not a
love
lot
that
happened.
episode. Shut up.
No shade. But I'm saying a lot of people dislike the episode because a lot of people say it was the weakest. But look, an episode like that, Ray just said that he loved that episode. So it just depends how you enjoy it. Score matters, entertainment, the way it's filmed, all those stuff matters in a scene.
I mean,
in a
and
movie,
it's all
TV
subjective,
show.
like we talk
That
about
too.
all the time. But I mean, I'll have to say that I know what's good. So, hey,
Yeah, I mean, there's just some people that just don't care for deep story-driven stuff, and that's fine. This is just not for you. If you want to wait until the end and then just binge it just to get whatever out of it, that's fine, man. Like Ray said, it's all subjective.
But
you don't have to like it.
last thoughts for WandaVision. I love it. I keep enjoying it. Can't wait to see the Halloween special for next week. Can't wait to see what type of, since it's Halloween, if people know what Halloween is, it's the day of the devil and everything. So it's the day to draw costumes. So I
want to see. I want to see that costume. Yes, I do.
that. Yeah.
Indeed.
I never expected to see that costume in live action and to actually be made and to see Vision in his classic colors as well. That's exciting to see. So I'm really curious to know how the episode is going to be, the Halloween special and
I
everything.
love that Vision's just gonna get to be himself for one episode.
Yeah. Right? Because he can hide now. He can actually just be himself.
They'll be like, "Wow, that looks really real." He's like, "Haha, yeah,
Yeah, it's just a random.
can't-
It's just a
I
random
can't
yellow
wait
cape
to
here.
see the dumb joke that he makes. It's so good.
And I can't
Ray,
really
final thoughts?
I'm gonna shut up because if I keep going, I'm not gonna stop.
Vash, what are you going to say?
I was gonna say I can't wait to see Agnes as the witch because if you have seen a trailer where Agnes tells, "Hey Vision, you're dead too," and the Vision is like, "Wait, what you talking about?" So I can't wait to see those extra 4-4 breaking and for Vision slowly to start to realize that, like James said much earlier, that he's an AI, he's a smart intelligence where he can actually figure out and maybe bring back his own memory, know that he actually died by getting the Infinity Stone put out of his head, so he doesn't really have that yellow gem. So I wonder if he's gonna actually, like, what is he gonna realize? Is he gonna go mad? Is he gonna become like a whole Terminator? What's gonna happen in that storyline for him?
Yeah, like I don't have any expectations. I don't have any like crazy theories going into this next thing, but I'm just very curious to see where we go with episodes 6, 7, 8, and 9. Like we are in for a treat with these last 4 episodes. They've described the last 3 episodes to be like an MCU movie, so I can't wait for this.
So this was episode 8, right?
5. Yeah, so there's 9 total. So there should be four left.
So the next episode should be in the 90s. Yeah. And then the 2000s. And then the late 2000s. And then current.
Yep. Oof. Exactly. Kevin Feige's a genius, bro. They thought this out so meticulously.
That's going to be wild. I can't wait. So yeah, I want to come back and talk about the end of the season. So yeah, put me down for that one.